Hey everyone, how's everyone doing tonight? Welcome to the Draper Brothers featuring Chappie, who's with us here tonight. Hey Chappie, how you doing?
Hey guys, good to be here.
And Dusty's joining us too. He went to go get his
Hey,
glasses, and there he is.
yeah,
How
I
you
left
doing
my
tonight,
glasses
Dusty?
in there. I had to run and get them.
How's everything going tonight? And Dusty's
Great. How are you doing?
to go get his glasses, and there he is.
Yeah,
How
I
you
left my
doing tonight,
glasses
Dusty?
in there. I had to run and get them. Somebody's echoing.
How's everything going tonight? And Dusty's
Great. How are you doing?
to go get his glasses, and there he
Yeah,
is.
I
How you
left my
doing tonight,
glasses
Dusty?
in there. I had to run and get them.
Where's that coming from?
Echoing.
How's everything going? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I was getting like tremendous feedback. Did you guys hear that as well?
Yeah, there was like an echo going on.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the technical difficulties. All of a sudden, we just heard our entire conversation played back to us two or three times. That's what I heard, anyways. I don't know what you guys heard, but that was pretty weird. Anyway, of Kimberly, Peggy Sue, Mary Lopez, Knight Rider, Nicole Marie, my three rosebuds. Hello, my three rosebuds, with a bunch of hearts, and they're blue and gold. Our old alma mater from Pima, Arizona, Pima Rough Riders. So thank you guys for joining us. We're sitting here tonight, feeling like a lot of you probably are. We're not in the best of spirits tonight, but we're glad to be here. Sometimes in life we get news that it feels like we just got punched in the stomach, and that's kind of how I'm feeling today, Dusty. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I was working today, but kept checking different feeds, Twitter, and I kept getting messages from people giving me updates. But yeah, I wasn't the outcome that I would have hoped for. So it's pretty disappointing. So.
Hey, Chappie.
Hey guys, I think that technical difficulty was on my end here. Sorry about that.
Oh, well, thank you, Chappie, for rebooting. And the question was, or the comment that I made was, do you ever just feel like you've been punched in the gut when you get news sometimes?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, is that kind of how you felt today when you got this news with about Suzanne Morphew?
I was pretty hopeful, man. I was really hoping that we were going to be able to bring some resolution, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Yeah. I'm going to look at some comments here. Yep. Super disheartened from Coda Frank. But we got some good information to pass along to you guys tonight. It's probably not anything breaking or new that you haven't heard already. We got a lot of really good YouTube channels out there that are covering this, and the news has kind of been out there all day. But one thing I want to talk about right out of the gate, guys, is Chappie, what a tremendous thing we saw last night when Profile and Evil came out, and they talked about some of the stuff that was happening within the search, or things that weren't happening is probably a better way to put it. What kind of a response did you see from our true crime community when that happened?
Oh, you know what? The response was overwhelming. I got to be honest. I was just taken aback by how many of the true crime folks went on and contacted the sheriff's office, contacted CBI, contacted the FBI, contacted the senators, anyone who would listen to them. They all put this pressure on the investigators and those who oversee the investigators to do something, to not sit on their hands. The reality is, whether Suzanne was there or not, whether there was a hard hit, a soft hit, a passive hit, whatever it is, there was enough question in our minds that we needed to do something to try and rule that out. It would have been an issue that was always burning in the back of our mind, no matter what happens, if we didn't go in and rule that out. And in an investigation, that's what we're trying to do. Anytime there's a piece of the puzzle that shows up, we're trying to see if maybe we can get that piece of the puzzle not to fit, because we need to get rid of the junk and the distractions. So they did the right thing in the end. They went to check the sites, determined that it was, again, a distraction. There was nothing there. And that's just going to put us at ease. It's heartbreaking. It's heart-wrenching, to be honest with you, because we want some closure. But at least it's not just lingering there in the back of our minds wondering what if.
Dusty, your comments?
Yeah, I agree with what Chappie said. It's at least it's news, and at least there was a lot of good that came out of this search. A lot of people came together. You saw how many people care about Suzanne and finding answers. We got to actually go out. Well, some of us got to go out and actually put some effort towards it instead of just typing on the computer and stuff like that. So yeah, it's disheartening, but I've seen a lot of comments here that say it's not over. No, it's far from over. We're going to find out what happened eventually. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but it's going to be sometime. And it's something like Tyson said, the truth always comes out in the end. And I truly believe that.
Well, when we went into this, guys, you got to remember that a lot of people felt like Suzanne was not in that immediate area, but we had to start there, right, Chappie? We had these conversations about, people were saying, well, why don't we start in Denver, or why don't we look in between Salida and Denver? No, where do you have to start, Chappie? Did we do this the right way?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You always start at the last known location. You start where you last saw this individual, and then you branch out from there. Always.
Yes, and so that's exactly what we're doing. So we can't give up, and we can't get disheartened, guys. Just like Dusty said, a lot of good is coming out of this. And now what we do is we simply expand the search a little further and a little further. And then all the while, law enforcement is doing their thing behind the scenes. And it's only a matter of time, guys. There's it was pretty encouraging actually to read Sheriff Speezy's latest statement that they just put out. Wasn't it a little, because he broke it down there at the end, how many man hours they've spent. I think it was 4,000. They've interviewed 180 people. It was pretty impressive. And they reassured us that they are, dedicating tremendous resources towards solving this missing woman's case. For me, anyways. How about you guys?
Dusty?
Well, I don't know. I'm just sitting, I keep thinking back to what my mind goes to is there's got to be somebody out there that knows something that needs to come forward. And I'm not trying to get off track of what you're talking about, but my mind's focused on there's people that have to know something. At least we know there's one person for sure that knows stuff. But I'm hoping that somebody will come forward and they'll be safe until they do that. I just hope that is the case. But we have to start getting some answers. This is just, Tyson and I were talking today, and there's so many crazy things going on, like different little things popping up here and there. And it's like, this is so weird. We were comparing it to the Daybell case, and there's some stuff that's even more weird than that case in this case. We'll talk about a few of those later, but
yeah, we're starting to see all these weird things pop up, aren't we, Chappie?
Oh yeah. And I know sometimes we got to question what do we believe? What do we believe? And the answer is sometimes we don't know what to believe. The truth is, in some of the investigations that I've had, there's been times where I know the crime this person committed, but there's certain things that almost make me question, what could I be wrong? Could there be something wrong about what I'm saying or what I'm doing or the road I'm going down? And that's actually normal. That's something that happens in investigations. I've investigated people who on the surface were great. I mean, really good individuals. And at first glance, you're like, there's no way this person is capable of doing these things. And you almost feel sympathetic, or you don't want it to be them. And I think in this case, not everybody, but some people kind of go back and forth. They're not sure what to believe. Is Barry innocent? Did Barry do this? in my gut of guts, and based on the information that I have, which is limited, I'll freely admit I'm not privy to all the information that law enforcement has. And for that, I have to trust in them and their decisions. But there are times where I think Tyson and I were talking about this. There's times where you're almost like, man, could we be wrong about Barry? Right?
Yeah, we had that conversation, and trust me, guys, that's not saying that that feeling sticks with me for a very long period of time. It's a fleeting thing that'll cross your mind every once in a while. But I think, like you were saying, Chappie, didn't you mention there about when you were an investigator that you had people that sometimes you would teeter back and forth with,
yes.
knowing full well that they were probably guilty as heck.
Yes.
But every single one of us are blessed with an innate ability. Most of us, I should say, not every one of us, but most of us are blessed with an innate ability to see the good in others. And so we're seeking that, we're searching that. And sometimes we think we get a glimpse of it, but no, man, not for very long. Not for very long.
So I said it before, I'll say it again, and I meant it before and I mean it now. I truly hope I'm wrong about Barry, but I don't think that I am. I truly hope that in the end, I'm going to be eating crow, because I hate to think that a man could do this to somebody that he's loved and spent, 23 years with, raised children with. I hate the thought that that could happen. I know that it can. I've investigated these kinds of cases. And I believe in the end, I'm going to find out that my gut was right with Barry, that Barry has committed this crime, or at the very, very least, he has more knowledge about this crime than he's playing out to have. But there's a part of me that just can't help to be wrong, help to hope that I'm wrong, because I just want to give Barry that benefit of the doubt, but I'm having a hard time doing it.
Yep. I can't even count how many times I've heard you say that. And I couldn't agree more, Chappie. That's what we're all trying to do. And some of us are way past that. Some of us are way, way past that. But, some of us, we're as we find out more information and things come to light, it just is looking more and more suspicious all the time. What do you think, Dusty?
Yeah. Well, they're asking what weird things. I'll just touch on a couple of them.
Okay.
Barry's behavior, for one, in all these situations, that it's not, we've talked about this ad nauseum, but as far as the search goes, to be out there putting up trail cams and carrying around a gun and speeding around and doing all that stuff, I mean, that's weird. That's not normal behavior for somebody whose wife is missing and there's a lot of people going up there to look for her. So that's weird. And then we have the guy on the electric bicycle and a wig, and that's weird. That's really weird. We saw that today. And people having mental breakdowns seemingly on Facebook or wherever, and I don't know, it's just crazy. This stuff is just nuts. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. So Dusty, did you have a chance to pull up that video?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to show you guys a video here real quick that Chappie and I shot from the location where Suzanne Morphew's bicycle was supposedly recovered. Chappie and I climbed down the hill. We were able to talk before we started recording the video and kind of come up with our thoughts and ideas about what happened. And we're going to show that to you now. And what we want to talk about at the conclusion of this video is whether or not we can for sure eliminate the mountain lion theory. We've already eliminated the bike ride, in my opinion, but let's take a look at this, guys. Chappie and I were in the area, and this is something that I've been wanting to shoot for a while now. So we took the chance while we were there. So enjoy this.
I had to put it in two parts, so I'll play the first one, and immediately after that, I'll play the next one. There'll be a little glitch in the middle. So
we made it okay. Yep.
What happened over there, Chappie?
Over at my house?
Yeah.
Well, get a lot of this. They found a mountain lion, spotted a mountain lion over by my house today. So, which is kind of ironic considering we're out here in the wilderness of Salida, New Mexico, Salida, Colorado. And one of the theories is, one of the ideas that we've heard is that Suzanne Morphew might have been dragged away from a lion, by a mountain lion. So
just another one of those weird things, ladies and gentlemen. We're out here searching and a mountain lion roams through Chappie's yard in New Mexico. Crazy. You can't make this crap up, man.
You can't make this up.
So here we are. We're standing right next to the tree where they supposedly found Suzanne Morphew's bicycle. Take a look at this. Here is the ribbon. Still here after all these months. Here's the hill that she supposedly rolled down. Now, one of the things that we're discussing, Chappie, is if Suzanne Morphew came rolling down this hill, very, very steep, very rugged. We have all these rocks and everything here, right? So let's say that she came rolling down this hill, Chappie. I want you to kind of walk us through, as a former law enforcement officer and a former investigator, what kind of a condition would Suzanne Morphew be in, and what would it look like? What would the crime or the situation look like if a mountain lion did indeed drag her across these rocks and away from this site? What do you think?
Well, I mean, now granted, there's a lot of plausible possibilities, but this is pretty darn steep. If she
I'm
were
gonna
to fall
get
down
back
here,
behind so you can see here. Yep.
If she were here, let me turn this way.
Yeah.
If she were to fall down this hill and injure herself here, bodies don't just vaporize, they don't just vanish into thin air. So if the theory stands true that a mountain lion came and dragged her away, what's going to happen is it's pretty violent. Mountain lions don't just pick up their prey and walk away, not a size of a human body. What's going to happen is they're going to drag right across all these rocks. Whichever way it goes, they're going to drag across these rocks. As a body's being dragged across rocks, there's a lot of friction. There's going to be scrapes, and part of their flesh is going to be left behind. You're probably going to find blood marks on these rocks. You know, something, torn shirt, torn plants.
You know, I just had an idea while you were talking there, Chappie, actually. I'm going to have Mark film us here, and I'm actually going to lay on the ground and pretend that I'm an injured person. Okay. And I want you to kind of just start to drag me a little bit, just to get an idea and to show people that there would definitely be hair or blood or skin or something. I mean, there is no way that she could have got out of here without leaving a trace of hair or something.
The other thing I want to point out, let me borrow that for just a second. The other thing I want to point out is if you look at all of these bushes here, every single one of these bushes has these thorns right here. I don't know how well you can see that, but all of these bushes have thorns. If she's being drugged through these bushes and through these thorns, at some point, her flesh is going to begin to, there's going to be some kind of abrasion or something that's going to bleed a little bit, right? You're going to have something left behind on these bushes. There's nothing, but of course we're here months later, but from what I understand, there was nothing found out here at the time of her disappearance.
Exactly, and that's a very interesting point, because you know, just like we're going to show here and demonstrate, there would definitely be something left behind, a piece of clothing, some hair, some skin, something. Let's check this out, Mark. Okay, so Chappie, let's say that somebody came tumbling down this hill and ended up here like this.
Yep,
on the ground.
Okay. So you're here. I'm gonna pretend like I'm a mountain lion. Okay. And mountain lions generally want to pull. I mean, they would probably want to pull you up, but if not up, this way, right? So it's going to grab hold, because there's roads over this way, and it's going to try and go somewhere where there's not people. So it's most likely going to go through the wilderness this way. I'm not an expert, but that's what I would think. So they're going to grab hold of something, and this is going to hurt. Right?
They're just go a little, just real gently.
All right.
I don't really need to get injured here.
If you can see this, that already hurts, doesn't it?
It already
so
hurts.
you pull this way.
All right, yeah.
You're gonna end up breaking some limbs. You're gonna end up leaving some flesh. His piece of his shirt's gonna be left behind.
Well, I think it's already going to be left behind, as well as part of my back. You know, it's getting scraped up. We're going to leave skin. We're going to leave hair. We're going to leave torn clothing.
There's just no way. Look at this right here. See how this is grabbing hold of me?
Yeah.
If you're pulling through all of these, you're gonna have some form of clothing, hair, something left behind. There was nothing here.
Yep. Very good point. And just in case you're wondering, guys, why I'm wearing my old hat again, hey, you guys can hate this hat if you want, man. I love this thing, and I'm never getting rid of it. So just get used to it. It's my good luck hat. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Okay. So let's break that video down, Dusty. And I know we kind of jumped right over your weird things there, but we can come back to those weird.
That's all right.
Those weird. We're going to talk about those weird things. These guys that are riding bicycles with wigs on and stuff like that. But we'll come back to that. Let's talk about this video, Chappie. Did you have a good time filming that?
It was all kinds of fun, but after we were done, I had some scratches on my legs just from those little thorns that we were talking about. So that kind of illustrates the point we were trying to make. Just by walking through there, I had scratches, and some of them were just to the point where they're beginning to bleed. So I can't imagine anybody being drugged through there without leaving some form of evidence behind.
Yeah, and I just want to say that all you did, and you can see it on the video. I don't know about you guys, but my video was a little blurry. But if it was, but you could tell that Chappie kind of grabbed my leg and moved me around. I still have a big scratch on my back from that. So I know that if a body was drugged through that terrain, there would have been a tremendous amount of blood and skin and everything that we talked about left behind there. So
Yeah.
Somebody said I should have done that with my teeth.
yeah.
In the comments.
That'd
Okay.
be more realistic. Huh?
What do you think, Dusty?
Yeah, when you told me about that on the phone after you guys made that video, I thought, man, that's going to be cool to watch him dragging him around. But I could imagine how bad that would have hurt. So I'm glad that you didn't get hurt, and the guy didn't drag you any more than he did. So yeah, that was.
No.
I like how you've done that now with your bike video, and now you've done it with this. You're just slowly eliminating all these theories. So.
Yeah, I think that was eye-opening for people. I hope it was anyways. I know it was eye-opening for me when I went back and watched it, because it shows people what's at the base of that hill and what's up against that tree. It's not grass, guys. It's not sand. It's rocks. It's big boulders that there would be a tremendous amount of evidence left behind. So, I'm pretty sure we can eliminate the mountain lion at this point. Don't you guys think?
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and Dusty, you mentioned about the bicycle. If you haven't seen that video, you can go watch it if you want. It's right here on our channel. I made a video of, if you're new to our channel, I made a video where I put the camera on the front of my truck and I drove pretty much the same route that Suzanne Morphew would have ridden on her bicycle. And now I say pretty much because we didn't have access to Puma Path that day. So it was just about, another 100 yards or so beyond that. But basically that was the exact bike ride that she would have rode that day coming around that corner there. So you can go see that. Now this one, we wanted to talk about that because we want to eliminate that. Not that we really needed to have a video in order to eliminate that, right, Chappie? I think law enforcement did that pretty much since day one.
I think pretty much anybody with common sense knew that wasn't going to be the case.
Yeah. So, Chappie, I saw a lot of comments here. I'd like you to make a clarification here because I saw a lot of comments go by where, people were talking about how they were saying we're saying that Barry's innocent. I want to clarify that. We're not saying Barry's innocent. We're not even saying anything close to that. Can you clarify that?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe in my heart of hearts that Barry is involved in this crime. I am not saying that he's innocent in any way, shape, or form. What I am saying is there may be times where we might be a little confused because we're getting conflicting stories and we see a little bit of humanity in Barry from time to time. And so it makes us maybe question it. But the reality is, I don't believe I'm going to be wrong in the fact that he committed this crime. I don't believe I'm going to be wrong in the fact that in my belief that he's a murderer. But there's times where you almost have to question. Did that help clarify it?
Yes, it did. Absolutely. What are your thoughts, Dusty?
Yeah, I don't think Barry's innocent at all. I'll just put that out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing, and we talked about this earlier, Tyson, there's nothing that he's done for me to point towards innocent. I just don't understand how people don't know, they can't, I guess we don't know, but I can read the signs. I can see the red flags. I can, read between the lines, whatever, however you want to state it. But there's no way in my mind that, and I'll eat a lot of crow if he comes back, something else happens and he's proven innocent. But I don't think that's going to be, I don't think that's going to be the case. But, it's just, that's one of the things that's most frustrating about this. He's just still running around out there while, people come out here and give their time and give their money and give their energy to come out and look for his wife, and he's not doing a darn thing about it. And that's one of the most frustrating things. So
yes, absolutely. There's no doubt about that.
I think he's going to get the dog.
I had to close that door so you can't hear my dog anymore. Sorry, guys.
Well, I know we've said this probably at least 30 times on other programs, but if you look at his behavior, Dusty, just like you said there, it is on the opposite end of the spectrum where it should be. I mean, all you got to do is take a look at Alicia Cordova. If you're not familiar with who Alicia Cordova is, she is a widow in Gilbert, Arizona. Her husband was brutally murdered. We're covering his case as well, right? Take a look at her compared to Barry. I mean, there's many examples that I can use. His behavior is one of those odd things for sure. Chap, what's on your mind?
From the very beginning, his behavior was odd. And if you watch the video, his mannerisms speak of somebody who's being deceptive. I have no doubt that he is involved in this crime. All I'm trying to say is there's times where the happy chappy side of me, and not the investigator side of me, can almost be sympathetic. Not sympathetic to the point to where I think that he is innocent or that he should get away with this crime in any way, shape, or form. But can I mention just one thing? I was watching, don't go there now, wait till after we're done, but go and watch Tube Crime's video about the knuckles and the abrasions and the blood and the swelling on Barry's hands during that interview with Tyson. Those are the hands of somebody who just finished a violent confrontation of some sort with someone. You could still see swelling and open wounds and such on his hands. That right there is very, very telling in itself. He has had a violent confrontation with someone or something at the time he was talking with Tyson, or just previous to that interview with Tyson.
Yes, and that's a really good point. I wanted to bring that up, Chappie, as well, because Brandon, he had called me one night, and we had a long conversation, Brandon and I, from Tube Crime, and we talked for about an hour about that very thing, about Barry's hands. And the first thing he said, he was all excited and says, "Tyson, have you seen Barry's hands?" And I said, "Well, I saw a lot of stuff. Yeah, I saw his hands flying all over the place." And he goes, "No, did you see his hands?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And he goes, "Man, you've got to take a look at him when we zoom in on him." And he started telling me all about it. And he wanted me to make a video. And I said, "No." I said, "You make the video. And he goes, "But it's your video, bro." And I said, "No." I said, "I want you to grow. And it's your idea." I said, "You put it together." And, he's onto something there. He's got a very interesting point with those cuts. And then it looked like on the right hand, it could have been swollen. Could have been consistent with an injury, like a boxer's injury. Now, of course, this is all speculation, guys, but the signs are there. The signs are there. Go watch it for yourself. Right, Chappie?
Yeah, absolutely. I implore you to go watch it because it'll help get those, thought process rolling for you.
Yep. All right, Dusty. So I have a couple of.
I didn't mean to click on that one.
Sorry, what was that?
I think I clicked on something and got rid of somebody's comment that you guys pulled up. I didn't mean to do that.
Oh, yeah. So go ahead. You want to talk about that one right there? The wig? Who do you think that was?
Well, I don't know who I think it was. I don't have any idea, but I know there's a couple of theories going on out there. And I saw a picture similar to this one. I'll put this up. It goes along with this comment. This guy with the wig looked like Trevor Noel. Well, he definitely had the same hat on, because here's that picture. That's Trevor on the left there, and then the guy in in the wig and stuff over there. I mean, yeah, they both Boston fans apparently. So who knows?
Wow, that's definitely the same hat. Man, whoever snapped that picture, great eye. That was an eagle eye catch right there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty obvious that the guy's wearing a wig, you know, and he's trying to put on a disguise. But still, good job catching that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people feel like that was Trevor Noel, like you said there. I do too. I feel like it was. I mean, I wouldn't go give my hat to somebody else to wear.
No,
you know?
I wouldn't want to wear nobody else's hat either.
Yeah, so I mean, you don't take another man's hat and go wear it around town. I'm telling you that right now. You know, you just don't do that. So to me, that's very telling. Chappie, what do you think?
Oh no, I think that was Trevor. I'm pretty sure of it.
And I can see why he'd want to be in a disguise. I mean, he came out, he started a GoFundMe page, and then he just kind of disappeared. So there's probably a lot of people not too happy with him that donated to this, and he didn't. I mean, you see what Andy did with the money that he raised, and then, you know, I didn't see anything happen with the other money, and there was a lot more too.
You know, this, Dusty, you mentioned how there's some bizarre things in this case. That's one of them right there. Like, when else have we ever heard this in our entire lives, out of all the thousands and thousands of cases that have been out there? When have you ever heard anything like this? Like a family member, Trevor Noel, the nephew that came out in the very beginning and was spearheading this whole thing, is now driving around on an electric scooter in a costume.
Allegedly.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, and also he went on a road trip this whole summer, apparently, too, according to his blog. And if you want to look at his blog, it's Wander Unlimited. You can go check it out. It's got a blog up there about his trip. So it doesn't look like a cheap trip either. You know, there's Winnebagos and all kinds of stuff involved in that trip. So just saying, allegedly.
Yep. Chappie, yeah, what do you think about that, Chappie?
I think you guys are spot on. I'm not sure what else to say other than it. You know, the body, you know, looks like Trevor, and he's wearing that hat, and I really doubt that Trevor said, "Here, dude, go wear my hat with a wig on it." So
yeah, I don't think there's a big group of people trying to spy on a vigil or a search.
Well, let's talk about that, Dusty. What do you think if that was Trevor? Let's say hypothetically or allegedly or whatever you want to call it. What was he doing there? What was he doing there? What do you think?
You know, I mean, curiosity gets to people sometimes, and maybe he just wanted to see what was going on without a bunch of attention on him. Because, like I said, it could be a lot of negative attention. Now, I'm sure he reads stuff. I see stuff all over the place saying, "Well, what did Trevor do with that money?" And they're mad, you know. And I understand it. If I donated to that and I saw what was going on, I'd be mad too, you know. So it's a people. When they give their hard-earned money to try to find somebody like that and they really care, that's a slap in the face, man, when you don't even know where the money went. You know, we've heard all kinds of rumors that it went here and went there. It's in this person's name now. It's in that person's name. But, you know, ultimately, I feel like whoever started the GoFundMe is responsible for it because they put out the reason why people were going to donate. So.
Can I say something? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Chappie, I'm sorry. I was just going to thank these people real quick. Speaking of donations, because they're buzzing by here. Gail B, thank you for the donation, and Stella Bella 310, and there was probably some others, guys. If there was, I am so sorry. I always like to make sure we get a thank you to each one of those. Miss Cat, thank you very much. So anyway, Chappie, go ahead.
I just want to, and it's a little off topic, but I'm reading the comments and I see repeatedly over and over and over people saying how defeated they feel, how deflated they feel, how they, you know, they're disheartened and such. Yes, this is kind of it feels like a defeat, but it's not over, guys. It's kind of like the beginning of the season, right? When you're on a soccer team or a baseball team or a football team, you lose that opening game and it feels terrible. But the reality is you don't stop playing the game because there was a defeat on one game. We keep moving forward with the purpose, with our eye single to that purpose in bringing resolution to this case. And it's only the beginning. The season's just beginning. We have time on our side. Well, it's not really, but if we continue to move forward, we're going to be able to uncover something eventually. I believe there's somebody out there who has the key. They know, they have some knowledge, some firsthand knowledge. They're just afraid to speak. And when that happens, that's going to break the case open. There's going to be somebody who's out hiking who accidentally stumbles upon a shoe or a shoelace even, and find it kind of odd and suspicious and turn it in. And that's going to help break this case open. It's not over, guys. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's just the beginning. We lost the first round of this season, but we're not losers. We're going to end up being champions in the end.
Yep. Yeah, very well put, Chappie. Go ahead, Dusty.
I was just I agree with you, Chappie. It's a marathon, not a sprint for sure, especially with a case like this when you don't have a body, you don't have a whole lot of evidence. Well, hardly any, to be honest with you. And it's really frustrating, but yeah, it's going to happen one of these days. And even if the person who did this gets away with it in on the earth here, he's not going to get away with it in the afterlife. So, good luck to him there. But anyway,
one thing that I learned very early on in my coaching career, those of you that know me, I have a coaching background, and I went to when I was a young coach, I went to a very old coach who was very wise and won many state championships, and I was talking to him because our young team was losing a lot of our games that we should have been winning and stuff, and he set me down and he said, "I want to tell you something, Tyson." He said, "You can lose the battle but still win the war." Right? And I'm not saying we lost any battles here, guys. That's not what I'm saying. We didn't lose. This effort by Andy Mormon and Profiling Evil and all of you, every single one of us, this was a huge success. So I don't want to sit here and say that we lost a battle. But do you get my drift when I say we can it didn't go our way, but we can still win this war, guys? And I believe we're going to 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, man. It's there's battles in wars. There's little battles. There's little strategies. There's little things. We had a huge army come out, and unfortunately it didn't come out the way. But we didn't get defeated. It didn't come out the way we wanted it to. But we weren't defeated because of this. And the person, whoever's responsible for this, they can maybe breathe a sigh of relief at the moment, but they're not ever going to have peace in their life until there's some kind of resolution to this. You're going to always be looking over your shoulder. You're always going to be wondering what's next, who's going to be the next one to come out and accuse him or track him down or whatever. So, yeah, that would be a horrible way to live. So,
this is a huge success. This is a huge success because what happened, if you watch national and international media, a case that wasn't getting any media coverage is now getting quite a significant amount of media coverage. With those many eyes on this case is not going to die down until there's resolution. This weekend was a huge success, even though it didn't turn out the way that we would hoped.
Yep. I just want to quickly thank Carrie Shallow and Gail B for the donation. Thank you guys so much. But no, you guys are right, man. We're going to win this. We're going to win this. I haven't lost any faith. Did I feel like I got punched in the stomach today? Absolutely. We all have a vested interest in this. It hurts. And we wanted resolution and we wanted closure. And we didn't get it today, but that doesn't mean we're defeated, and we're going to win this. So, all right.
Can I bring this? I'm going to bring this up. It says, innocent until proven guilty. Start taking that away from anyone. You risk your own. I'm not taking anything away. We're just giving our opinions. I totally support that that right that people are innocent until proven guilty. We're just talking about our opinions and what we've seen. By no means do I think that they should just take someone and string them up and say they're guilty. I believe in due process, and I think that that's what needs to take place. I don't want it to happen. I don't want charges to be brought if they don't have enough to make this happen, because that's just going to be a failure for sure. But
And
I do like how positive Chappie was about that, because you're right. This is a victory, I believe. So.
Yeah. And in speaking to that, innocent until proven guilty, what's happening now exactly proves that that our system still believes that. If Barry would have been arrested and thrown into jail if it was based on, popular opinion or gut feelings or anything like that. You have to have the evidence before you can condemn anybody. It doesn't mean that there aren't certain things that lead you to believe that he probably is part of this crime, right? Yeah. There's lots of things that lead us to believe that. And yes, he may be innocent, and in the end we may realize that he is, but the reality is if we didn't have that constitutional protection of innocent until proven guilty, he'd already be in jail. So that's a great point. And the police officers, the law enforcement are doing their due diligence to make sure they are absolutely correct before they make any kind of rash movement. So good point.
Well, Chappie, those are good points, but I want to say this, man. Sometimes it takes a little bit of arm twisting from an amazing community like this with our true crime community. Law enforcement, sometimes, they don't do their, they think they're doing their due diligence, but they're really not, or there's something more sinister going on that we don't quite know about yet, or whatever. But, you get what I'm saying there? Does that make sense, Chappie?
Yeah. Sometimes we look at an investigation from the outside and we're left scratching our head. And that's been the case with this case several times. And yeah, you have to question, okay, is law enforcement doing their due diligence? The answer is I'm not privy to everything that law enforcement has. I just don't have that answer. I know that my personal experience with Chaffee County Sheriff's Office was it was a positive experience. It was a professional experience, and they took us very seriously and investigated, tips that we had for them. But then I hear other reports that that's not the case. But again, I don't know what I don't know. And so it's hard to be able to make a judgment on law enforcement without understanding all of the pieces of the puzzle. And they have more pieces than I do.
Perfect, Chappie. Okay, I got a couple questions for you guys. Dusty, I'll direct this one towards you. Was the search on Barry Morphew's property? Were any of these searches on his property?
Well, according to Chaffee County Sheriff's statement, they weren't. We were hearing differently. We were hearing there was a search on the Longhorn subdivision, but that apparently wasn't the case. So no, there wasn't any. I do know that they invited, apparently from what we hear, Barry allowed them to go around his house there at Puma Path, but I don't know. Nothing came of it. So,
Yeah. Well, that was a shock to me when I read the Chaffee County statement tonight that it was not on Barry Morphew's property, because every report that I had read from here all the way, across the ocean, said that it was. So, that was the only information that we could go off of. So, I mean, really, that's not a big deal. I mean, it is that it wasn't on Barry's property. If it had been, it would have been a much bigger deal. But the fact is, it wasn't. There was nothing there, and it was disappointing. And we move on. Yeah. So. Anybody have any comments?
I put this comment up. I'm seeing a lot of stuff about somebody that is talking about us or somebody else, other YouTube creators, but we don't we don't like to do that. I mean, if you guys don't mind, I mean, you can type whatever you want, but we don't want to be part of all that negativity. So we do usually, when somebody talks negative about us, we usually come out and invite them to come talk to us personally, or come on the show or whatever, and talk to us. So it's not anything that we worry about. I mean, it's not something we buy into. So if you guys don't mind, just don't worry about it. So we're big boys. We can handle ourselves, just letting you know. So you guys got any comments on that?
I was just going to say, we're pretty thick-skinned. It's all right. And we know that we're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And if somebody makes a negative comment out there, that's okay. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Chappie, let's shift gears for a minute. I saw somebody ask the comment about us going up, asked in the comment section about what was going on up there by those abandoned cabins. Do we want to talk about that for a little bit, and why? I mean, you can pretty much see it in our video, but not everybody's seen that. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
So why did we decide to go up there in the first place? We there was some abandoned cabins, and we had it in the back of our mind to get up there before we left Maysville. Why did we go up there? What happened?
Well, we have a tremendous amount of great subscribers, and many of them were asking us to do that. There were some who are of the psychic community, the intuitive community, that felt some type of connection of that cabin area to this case. And, we're willing to go and investigate anywhere really that could possibly help us to be able to solve this problem. So that's why we went to that area and searched there in the first place, because we had plenty of people asking us to do so.
Yep, we did. And also we had a hunch, didn't we? We talked about it on the way up there. That article that was found was up past the Monarch Lodge.
Yes.
And I have my suspicions about what that article is. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to get blamed for speculation or start any firestorms of what rumors or whatever, but I have my suspicions of what that item was, and I can guarantee you that based on the report, that article was found very closely in proximity to where we were. So when we found that hole, that suspicious hole there, that's when red flags really started flying up in my mind. So that was another reason I wanted to go down there, is because I knew that article was recovered over there.
That's right.
So, or I don't know exactly where, but in that area, right? So now let's talk a little bit about that hole. Dusty, what was your impression when you watched that video for the first time? Me and Chappie stumbling upon that hole. Did you think that was weird or unusual?
Yeah, that was definitely man-made. I mean, you could see, even in the video, you could see where some kind of tool, more than likely a shovel, was hitting the side of that hole. It's easy to tell that was man-made. I was hoping that there was something that would come out of it, but I mean, that's just strange for it to be out there like that. Was there any structures or anything around it, like cabins or houses or anything close to it?
Chappie?
Yeah, there was a cabin. It was a little bit, I mean, it was maybe 100 yards from that cabin. There was also maybe, I don't know, 50 feet or so to this, towards I was going to say to the south, but I don't know. But anyway, there was an old collapsed structure of some sort. I'm guessing it was probably a shed or an outhouse or something to that nature. But in like direct proximity to that hole, no, there wasn't any structure.
No, okay. And you know what was strange about it, Dusty? It was tucked away underneath the tree and a rock.
Yeah.
Yep. And Chappie pointed
to notice it.
Well, let me get there. I'll get there in a minute, but I want to talk about the tree and the rock first, because Chappie noticed that. He came back over because he went to go kind of secure the area. That's the law enforcement coming out in Chappie, and he secured the area, and I waited patiently for him to come back. That was pretty uncomfortable too, waiting that. But But thank you for doing that, Chappie. But when he came back, he said, you know what I noticed about that is it's under a rock and it's also under a tree. And a lot of the intuitives had seen that very thing. And so we got down like you saw, and we got on our hands and knees and we dug. And what the thing that piqued my interest the most was when I tapped on the bottom of it, it was hollow. And it had a real hollow sound to it. And I couldn't leave it alone. Like I kept thinking, well, maybe it's a root under there, a dry, like a rotted out root or something from a tree. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's this, or maybe it's that. But, and that's when Chappie's finally like, you know what, maybe we just need to stop and report this. And you guys can see that in that video. But it was very weird. It's just another one of those weird things. We just found a hole out there.
Yeah. There was kind of an ominous feel about that area also. It felt weird. The area in itself felt a little, I was feeling a weird vibe, if that makes any sense.
It makes total sense to us because we felt that in Delphi. So
yeah. And I don't have any way to explain it other than it just felt uncomfortable. That area felt uncomfortable for some reason. Yeah. So.
Yeah. We know what you're talking about, Chappie. We felt that many times.
Yeah. Yep. I thought for sure that there would be, something there. But guys, we tried. We were able to help process a couple of pieces of evidence. Man, again, guys, it was such an amazing trip and such a success. We just got to chalk it up as a win.
Hey, Tyson, I see a recurring question that's been coming up, and I think the person who's asking it, I think it's pretty important to them. They're asking, can DNA in dirt, can DNA be found in dirt if there was a body? And the answer is yes. If there's any kind of decomposition of a body or something of that nature, even skin cells left in the dirt or what have you, it can be located, it can be extracted. It's a little bit of a tedious process, but it is possible, yes.
Thank you for that, Chappie. Good question. So we've got about 8 more minutes, guys, to the hour mark. We can keep going if you guys want. We can take some questions. That's what I'd kind of like to do, is take some of our subscribers' questions here. Looks like they got some really good ones. Do you guys care if we do that?
I'd love to go there.
Okay.
So I saw one. I'm trying to find it because it was I liked it. Let me see if I can find it. These things are moving a little too fast.
They're moving pretty quick. Some of them are.
Well, that you guys are just giving us so many compliments. Let's see if we can find a question here. Sorry, it's taken us so long.
Well, here's one. Kimberly's asking, are you guys able to go back there? Tyson's been there 3 times. I'm not sure how many more times you're going to go back.
I'll tell you what, guys, I'll go back as many times as I need to for Suzanne. I'll give you the answer that I really feel in my heart. I'll go back as many times as I need to for Suzanne. So if I have to go back, I'll go back. Guys, trust me, I got that gas tank in my truck is on full all the time, ready to go. So all I need is the word, and I'll go. So
and I'm on the way. He'll pick me up and we'll go together.
You're dang right, Chappie. You're dang right.
Here's a good question for Chappie, I think.
Can someone be convicted without a body? The answer to that is yes. It's very difficult, but yes, a person can be convicted without a body. Like what's needed to arrest someone. All right, so you're going to need circumstantial evidence. You're going to need physical evidence, and you're going to need to identify that there is a body. Somehow you have to identify that somebody is deceased. Mm-hmm. Not always easy to do in a murder case without a body, but it has been done. It can be done. But a piece of the body is going to be vital in being able to accelerate this as far as an arrest.
Yes, guys, if you were following the Patrick Frazee case, he was convicted with no body. The body of
Yeah.
Kelsey Barrett was never recovered. The only thing that they were able to recover was a tooth that they couldn't positively identify as hers, even because there was no DNA. But I know there's no bombshell witness like what was her name, Kenny, Crystal or whatever, the witness in that trial. We don't have that in this case, but there's been plenty of cases where somebody has been convicted with no body. It just depends on what kind of evidence they're able to turn up. And, you know, like you said, Chappie, you have to convince the jury. Although you don't have a body, is it a difficult thing to do? Absolutely. Very difficult. But is it possible? Again, yes.
So in order to get a conviction in criminal court, you have to be able to, the state has to be able to prove beyond any reasonable doubt. So that's the challenge that law enforcement has in doing their investigations, is being able to paint a picture in such a way that there is no reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge. Right now, there's lots of reasonable doubt. There's a defense attorney could very easily poke holes in this case right and left. So it's not an easy case, but I do believe, somebody asked a minute ago, do I believe it will be solved? I do believe it will be solved. Another question was, do I believe they'll ever find her body? I'm unsure about that. I have my doubts.
Well, you know what, Chappie? You know, we can have doubts, but that doesn't mean that we're ever going to stop looking.
Oh, heck no.
You know, and, you know, I still think we can. I think that we've got a lot of information that just hasn't come out yet. But, you know, who knows? It's anyone's guess. I mean, I could get 1,000 people lined up and you're going to have, you know, 500 that say yes, 500 that say no. I mean, it's a 50-50, but, you know, I still believe we're going to find her. I still do.
And I'll also say this, it's not easy to dispose of a body by yourself. I believe that somebody probably did assist in this. And there's a very real possibility that if we can figure out who that person is and allow them to, and we can extract some information from them. I say extract like I'm going to torture somebody. That's not the case. But if we can get them to give us some information, I do think there's hope in finding the body in that way for sure, or at least pieces of the body.
There you go, Chappie, from our good friend Janet Mayer. And I even said your name right this time, yes. Janet.
Janet.
That is the first time I got your name right, Janet. Thank you. Janet's awesome. We bring her up a lot, but she's an amazing supporter to us Draper brothers and Chappie. So we've got time for a couple more questions here, guys. Do you see any there that we want to talk about here, or do you guys have anything that you want to bring up before we wrap this up?
I saw one earlier that was pretty interesting to me. They said, could Barry have taken her to Indiana and got rid of her? Well, that's definitely a possibility. It's probably not likely, but it definitely is, because look at what happened with Gannon Stout. I mean, he ended up in Florida from Colorado. Yeah, Colorado. So he ended up way over there, and that's where he was found. And you know, anything's possible. It's probably not likely that happened because Barry was seen in, you know, different places, and that time frame probably wouldn't have matched up. But you know, right now we just like Chappie was saying earlier. I don't know if you said it in this live or another one, but you start from the house and you go the other way. You don't start in Indiana and come back to, you know, Colorado. So it's more than likely coming the other way. So.
The trail always begins where they were last seen.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just looking for a question over here.
There's one here. Do you think Barry burned the body? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, nobody knows that for sure.
Somebody said today's Gannon's birthday. I had no idea about that when I brought him up. But, man, that's really sad.
G-Man, it's G-Man's birthday today.
Apparently, that's what Maui Girl's saying.
Happy birthday, G-Man!
Happy birthday! That's awesome.
Rest in peace, brother.
Happy birthday.
Okay, so Georgia Amanatides, have the cadaver dogs been used on the bobcat? There's a reason he keeps it close to him. He never did that before. That's a really good question, Georgia.
Good question.
Yeah,
And
very
I don't know.
good question. You know, that's an interesting insight there, because Barry was pulling that bobcat all over the place out there in those heels. Wasn't he, Chappie? How many times did we see Barry go by with that bobcat? I saw him at least twice.
I was gonna say 3 to 4 times maybe, but yeah, twice for certain. Yeah, I think that that's a really good question. I have no idea if the cadaver dogs were used on that bobcat.
Yeah, but I tell you what we can do is I can find out the answer to that question. I'll talk to a couple of sources that we have that are close to it, and I can put that up on Twitter for you. I'll put the answer to that one on Twitter. I don't know. Good question. I don't know. I feel like mine kind of like froze up. Do you guys see any questions there? Take one more.
I am looking here.
In the meantime, I'm going to put this up on the screen, just like we mentioned, from Debbie Patterson. G-Man, yes, they had a memorial for him in the Carolinas. Thank you. Our hearts go out to him and his family.
Rebecca Hartman asks, are all animals out of the question, like bears? Just asking. Anything is possible. So I'm going to preface it with that. But you would have the same result if a bear would have grabbed hold of her and drug her. It would have been the same thing. There would have been some type of physical evidence left behind. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think it's possible for any animal to have at least drug her off. Mary Lopez asked, Chappie, can they get back into the house? They can with a search warrant, absolutely. They will just have to be able to establish probable cause well enough for a judge to sign a warrant.
Are you talking about Barry's house?
Yeah.
They've already been there twice, man. It would almost be impossible to get a third one, I would guess.
Yeah, I mean, there would have to be some new developments.
Yeah, for sure. So there was one that said it's right here. Let me pull it up. It says so many cadaver hits and no bodies. Why? Why do you guys think? I mean, those dogs are they are proven to have found bodies before.
Yeah.
Well, what I would like to answer that real quick, Chappie, and then you know, we can only go off of the information that we're given. And what I mean by that is we weren't there. We didn't witness this firsthand. We didn't see the dog aggressively start digging at the area or sitting down or whatever they do. I'm not even real sure exactly what they do, but we weren't there to witness it. So we were told that this was an area of interest or a passive hit, something like that. So, you know, that's the information that we're given. And so we weren't there. We don't know exactly what happened. You know, and I did see a quote in one of the newspapers, and I can't remember exactly which one, but even Andy was saying that reporters might have jumped the gun. You know, I was kind of surprised to see Andy Mormon. That was a quote from Andy Mormon, that reporters might have jumped the gun, that maybe the dog wasn't quite as aggressive as they thought or something. So, you know, could have been that. Chappie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, we weren't there. We don't know, and we're not privy to all of the details of this. Law enforcement is always going to know more than we do, but it is possible. Cadaver dogs can hit on the scent of a human body if that body had been present at some point. So if the body was there and then moved, they're going to hit on that spot at least for a while. So there's a lot of things that could have happened, but it's just, I don't know the answer to that.
I'm gonna
Thank you, Coda Frank, for this donation. And here's a quick. Oh, sorry,
sorry, Dusty, my
it
bad.
disappeared. Let me see if
I'm
I can
so
pull it
sorry.
back. That's all right. All right. Is it possible that, given there was 1 to 2 weeks notice of the search, could fake distractions have been put in place all over search area to send volunteers and Andy on a wild chase? I'd say that's absolutely possible that that would happen. I don't know if it did, but yeah, I'm thinking it probably could have. What do you think? What do you think, Chappie? You look like you want to answer.
When you give someone time to cover their tracks and you announce that you're about to come, yeah, I mean, it's very, very possible that that time allowed for all kinds of distractions, and maybe even maybe even moving bodies or covering. I mean, there was a lot of opportunity to cover some, get rid of some evidence.
Hey, Tyson.
Yeah.
I got a message here, not on here, but through another source, and it was one of our moderators said we missed a question that retired Sergeant Melinda Loeffler keeps putting up, and we just keep missing it. Said Barry's a fireman, so do you all believe he dismembered and burned her remains in mountains and spread them? I didn't think about the fireman connection there. What do you guys think?
Well, I think that it's one of many possibilities, I'm at this point, guys, as crazy as this thing is getting, I'm not going to rule anything out at this point. I'm not going to rule anything out. And in addition to that, there's not much that would surprise me at this point. This is kind of turning into, not kind of, it has turned into a pretty bizarre situation. And I expect it's far from over.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
we're just at the beginning, to be honest with you. One of our viewers here is asking me to do something, to talk about domestic violence, and I know that there may be some of you watching here, or maybe will be watching later on, that are in abusive situations and you feel that there is no escape. But I want you to know there are plenty of resources out there, safe houses that you can go to, lots of support, friends and family members. And if you have any, if you find yourself in a situation of domestic violence, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can find me on YouTube. You can reach out to me through Instagram, send me a message, but I can get you some resources if you find yourself in that situation. So thank you, Vanessa, for bringing that point up.
Yeah, thank you, Chappie. That's really good. I appreciate that.
And
so thank you, retired Sergeant Melinda. We really appreciate you. That's really very generous of you to donate that. Appreciate. Sorry we missed your comments a few times.
yeah, sometimes we get long-winded here, Melinda, and we don't see him go by, but thank you so very much.
This guy gets
and I want to thank Tamara for pointing that out too. She's one of our moderators, and she's pretty awesome.
Thank you, Tamara. And I think we thanked everybody. If we didn't have a chance to thank you, there's Good Grandma. I don't know, did we thank the Good Grandma
no,
a while ago?
She just popped up, so I'm not sure if we did or not.
I think that's her second one. I think, if that's the case, Good Grandma, thank you, and thank you very much. So, but yes, a couple people were asking about the Broomfield retaining wall. Was that really a thing? I don't have any more information on whether it was a real job or not. Dusty, I mean, you're more privy to the information side of things. Have we gotten any information to lead us in another direction that maybe there was never a retaining wall job?
Well, I have heard rumors that certain entities were contacted, certain companies, and they said they didn't have any wall project at that time. There's certain walls that people have found while out looking around, and they've sent pictures of them. and there's one actually near the hotel that Barry stayed at or was at. And so, from all I've heard, there wasn't a job. Nobody hired him. There wasn't a job to do. So I'm not sure if the retaining wall even exists that they were working on. Apparently there had to be something, because I think Morgan and Jeff and them actually saw a wall at one point. I could be mistaken about that, but I don't think they did any work on it. I know they didn't, because they said they didn't have the supplies or the tools, so they left. But I'm thinking there wasn't. I mean, that's, of course, I think that's probably just setting up an alibi of some sort, to going out there, because that's just weird how it was planned a certain way and then it was changed at the last minute, according to Morgan. And then there was just some really odd behaviors again. We talked about that. So, no, that's what I've heard, Tyson, is just rumors on, these different sites. And so, but I do know that people contacted these companies and there wasn't a retaining wall that they said was being built for that certain company. So I'd have to look
and
if it was, but
Josie says plunder report says no. So, we put a lot of stock in what plunder says. We know she vets her information very well. And she's a reliable place to go. And so I haven't had the opportunity to see that particular video that she's put out yet. So I have not seen that, but if it's not going to surprise me, guys. Again, nothing's going to surprise me at this point. If there was never a Broomfield job, I wouldn't doubt it at all.
So AJ here is saying it's on her channel. That's probably, I've been watching some of AJ's videos, and so maybe that's where I saw this information. So you can go and,
hey AJ, I haven't seen AJ in a long time. I remember when I first started my channel, she was there, but then she disappeared for a long time. And so it's good to see you again, AJ, Audrey. We encourage everybody to go over to her channel and check out her videos and subscribe to her while you're over there as well. So go check it out.
Yeah, there's a lot of creators that a lot of you probably don't know about that are really good. And AJ's one of them. There's a few others that we keep in contact with. Mallory, Mallory's last name, Tyson? You remember the one that you like so much that you tell me about?
Oh, Mallory Williams.
Yeah, she's really
Mallory,
good. I'm sorry I forgot your last name, Mallory, but I know your videos.
Well, she's up and coming, and she's just starting to get into the true crime. She's another one of these Sweetie Pilo type things where she's trying to raise kids and make videos at the same time. And so that's not always the easiest thing to do. But yeah, there's so many great. I like going around and seeing who's out there and trying to, if I like what they're doing and agree with it, to promote them. And isn't it a good thing to pay it forward, Chappie?
It is definitely a good thing to pay.
I could see it on your face, man. I could see it on your face.
Yeah, Tyson and I, we've had this conversation more than once. The reality is this: we get in return what we give out. So if we can share the love and pay it forward, it only blesses us all in the end. And Tyson, I've used the phrase, a rising tide lifts all ships. If we just help to rise that tide, lift that tide, all of us lift together. So
yes,
let's help her out.
Amen. And you know what? I didn't get here by myself. I'm not saying I'm anything big. None of us are. We're still little teeny tiny nothings, right? But we're grateful for where we're at. But you know what? I couldn't have done it without plunder. And you know what's ironic is I saw some comments on here earlier about, Dad with the phone and some of the stuff that he was saying. And he's actually one that gave me a really good shout out in the beginning and actually did a whole video and promoted me. And that was really helpful. And I appreciate that, him doing that. And so, I want to pass that on to other people and help in any way that I can, So anyway, it's just like I always say, guys, it's such a wonderful community that we're a part of. And maybe this could be our closing thought for me. I just want to say, guys, in recap here that, it's becoming more and more obvious every single day that these theories that we've been presented from day one of the mountain lion, the bike ride, the abduction, all those things are false. Where is Suzanne? Where is Suzanne? She's out there somewhere. Somebody's got to know something. It's time to give it up. Somebody knows something. It is time to give it up and tell us where. You might not know where Suzanne's at, but you know something.
Yeah.
And we've got thousands and thousands of people around the world, and it's soon to be millions and millions that are going to be following this case. We're not going anywhere. We're not leaving. And we want to know what you know. So please come forward with that information. Please, we beg you.
And I echo that. And I want you to know, if you're watching, whoever you are, there's got to be somebody with information, and whoever you are, it is scary, and I get that. And we would never do anything to burn you. And I hope that you can feel our sincerity. If you don't want to speak to law enforcement, you can speak to us, and we will never burn you. Okay, but we've got to have some information to help law enforcement move forward in this case. So please, if you have any information, we implore you, speak to somebody. Also, having said that, I want to say how grateful I am to all of you in this community. You guys are absolutely amazing. Some of folks, after I talked about domestic violence, asked how they can get, how they can, if there's a hotline or something out there that they can call. And there is. If you are a victim of domestic violence, or you know someone who is a victim of domestic violence, it's time to not be silent. The number is 1-800-799-7233. You're not alone. There are plenty of people who are there to help you rise above that, get out of that situation. And in the meantime, I want you all to know how much I love each and every single one of you. You guys are truly good, and everybody in this community is good. And I know that sometimes things are said that may not be agreed, you may not agree with, but that's fine. We have to have dialogue. We have to be able to communicate freely in order for us to be able to grow. So let's keep those ideas moving along freely. Even if they're not correct ideas, even if they're an idea that we disagree with, we'll never understand one another if we don't allow each other to speak openly and honestly. So love to you all. Dusty?
Yeah, you guys have said a lot of cool stuff. I really appreciate what you guys have said. I want to go with the narrative of passing on the good stuff. Like I'm a professional photographer, and when I was up and coming in that world, I had a lot of great mentors that took me under their wing, and they showed me the ropes. They showed me not only the photography side of it, but the business side of it. And they were great guys. And I tried to pass that on when I got a few years under my belt. I tried to pass that on to people that were up and coming. And I just think that it's amazing how we can all help each other to help these people in these cases. There's nobody out there that has all the answers, and we can all pull together. We can all have our opinions. We can all talk about them. And like Chappie said, the dialogue is very important, because just listening to some of these cases on other channels gives me a totally different perspective than I never thought of. And it opens my mind up to a lot more possibilities. And that's what we have to do. We have to have open minds. We have to have open hearts. And we have to be willing to accept each other. There's a lot of negativity going on in the world today, and we just don't want to be part of that. We want to be part of the good. Chappie's got a lot of good stuff on Chappie's Chatter on his channel over there, where he spreads positive messages. So go check that out. But yeah, I really appreciate all of you that come and that have good things to say about other people and about us. And so, yeah, and good messages today, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we had an absolute wonderful discussion, and we'll end on Hurricane Hollies. It's a pleasure to spend time with these guys and everyone in the chat. This is a wonderful community. Amen, Holly. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, guys. Thank you to all of you who donated. Thank you to our moderators. For those of you that donate through our Patreon page and through the mail and the other ways that you guys do, we love you and appreciate you more than you will ever know. Thank you so very much.
Good night,
You guys have
everybody.
anything else?
I'm
Good night.
good.
Bye-bye.
Be kind. Be kind to each other.
And party on, dudes.